Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Purpose Chasers, welcome to episode 112, Hierarchy of Needs as it relates to your employee. So this is a topic that I have been sitting with and experiencing for quite some time now. And I've mentioned it a few times on the show leading up to this episode and the next episode, which is the hierarchy of needs of an entrepreneur or a business owner, if you will. And so let's just dive right into it. So as promised, I'm going to share with you the keys to recruiting and maintaining employees and finding out the motivating factors of your employees. But before I do that, I have to give a huge shout out to one of the OGs of thought leaders that's just my opinion, Abraham Maslow, who dropped a theory of human behavior back in the early 1900s. And that theory in a nutshell was that the motivation of human behavior is based on which stage of the hierarchy of needs an individual is working to fulfill. So before we dive into this episode, I got to outline what the hierarchy of needs is and what the 5 stages are. And then we're going to dive into some really nerdy therapist-y psychological perspectives on what's motivating, driving your employees and how you fit the vision of the company into the driving factors, the behaviors of your employees to get maximum production, happiness out of your employees, and start to become fulfilled as an entrepreneur. So Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the bottom stage of the hierarchy of needs is the physiological needs. So such as air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Obviously, you're going to see like more lower level minimum wage employees struggling to escape this phase of the hierarchy of needs. The second phase of the pyramid, if you will, is safety needs. So this is personal security, employment, resources, health, property, right? So the security, the building of a home, if you will, which a lot of employees are living inside of, but it doesn't take much to knock them back down to physiological needs based off of where they are at as far as earning potential, as to what their education is on money and saving and credit scores and all of that. It's going to be pretty difficult for individuals that struggle with those things to ever get up into the third phase of the hierarchy of needs, which is love and belonging. So this is friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection, where a lot of people that have, quote, careers tend to frequent often. And my belief of the hierarchy of needs is you can never be living, you can never have behaviors that's driving multiple phases of the hierarchy. Your behavior, or where you are on the hierarchy of needs, you're in a single stage, and your behavior actions are dictated off of that stage that you are seeking to fulfill. So if a crisis pops up, you're going to be back in safety needs, or you'll be back in physiological needs, depending on the level of security that you have, financial security, in your, in your life. So fourth phase is esteem. That's respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom, where most humans are striving to live in, feeling a sense of accomplishment, feeling respected, feeling a belief in themselves, their status, their recognition, their strength, their freedom. The final phase, which every human is, whether consciously or subconsciously aware of, every human is striving to get to, which is the final phase of the hierarchy of needs, which is self-actualization, which is the desire to become the most that one can be. So, but a lot of people never get to experience that because they don't get the lower level needs met, and they never get to the stage of self-actualization. So that's the hierarchy of needs. Again, shout out Abraham Maslow, one of the OGs. I did a research paper on this in grad school. I really love this theory. And I love it so much that I'm about to record 2 podcast episodes on it. So if me going over the hierarchy of needs bored you, strap in, because I'm about to dive into how this can feed your employees and make you a lot of money and make super happy employees or team members as well. So over the last few years, I've heard more entrepreneurs state that no one wants to work, and no one wants to work and you can't find good help. Neither of these are accurate based off of my experience and my views of the world. And it's not accurate if you're viewing your employees or potential employees from the lens of where they currently are inside of the hierarchy. Employees normally bounce up and down in the 3 lower levels, which are, as I went over, physiological, safety, and love and belonging. So it's kind of like, I call it the hierarchy of needs roller coaster. Almost all of which I have employed are striving to hit esteem, things that feed the self-esteem phase, raise, paid vacation, or the like may temporarily bump them up to the 4th level, which is esteem, but it won't keep them there. So I must say that I'm no expert on human behavior, but I do have at least 25 years of studying it. And I even went as far as getting a couple degrees and a couple licenses to match to practice therapy. If you did not know that, I did. So before I dive into what I do with all of my employees or team members, as I refer to them as, I must share a story of my journey. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs get really fired up and motivated on the back of setting personal or business financial goals. I do not. I did in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. I set a goal to get 25K in my business account. When I did it in a few weeks' time, I didn't celebrate at all, not even a little bit. I actually immediately doubled my goal. And when I hit that, I doubled it again. And when I first got to $250,000, I realized that there was literally no amount of money that was going to fire me up, or, as the hierarchy is concerned, allow me to experience the self-actualization stage. This awakening led me to sit down with everyone that I worked with. And I say worked with, I don't like to wear the hat of boss or dictator of the company. I like to believe that I work alongside my team members, and that we're equals. So getting to the core of their career, family, and financial goals, I was able to get behind their goals. Simply put, I use the goals of all of my team members to drive my behavior. Team members hitting their goals, climbing the hierarchy, allows me to sustain self-actualization. Which I'm going to crap on a little bit. in the next episode where I talk about the hierarchy of needs for entrepreneurs. To some, this may sound like crazy talk, but when you add up all the goals of your team members and the goals of the owners, then do the math on the revenue that needs to be hit to make everyone's goals possible. You know, I'm personally looking at a pretty decent payday. This past year, I spent zero amount of my time focused on individual revenue goals. With that set, I'm going to end the year making almost double or maybe more, because we still have 2 months left in the year, than I did last year, and surely way more than I would have set out to make. Finding out where each member of our team is on the hierarchy is not a small order. It's not a one-time conversation, and the rewards will not be visible immediately. On the backside of the work that it took, I'm truly reaping the rewards of seeing my team members shine and hit and exceed their goals as a result of shattering any goals that I could have possibly put together. Most individuals that are employees never break out of the physiological safety shuffle, if you will. They just keep going up and down, depending on what life hands them. They never sustain one of those stages to then advance to the next. The definition of a job, quote, keeps them trapped. When you start to enter a different definition and outline a career, which is a position with a mapped out plan of growth, then they can begin to get free of the bottom of the hierarchy and start to experience some of the benefits in the third and fourth stage. With all this said, there is not a labor shortage. It is not that no one wants to work. It is that you do not have a vision to attract individuals that are striving to get off the hierarchy roller coaster, and they don't even know that they're on it. Yes, you need to give raises so that their basic needs are met, but more than that, you need to create a vision that motivates them to take on roles and responsibilities beyond their current position. Feed their passion with guiding them towards higher purpose in the organization. It is not impossible to create an organization in which the employee can also reach self-actualization without announcing it to the world, which, hang on, edit this, Cody, which I'm actually on a mission to do without announcing it to the world, which I guess I am doing on this episode. I'm announcing it to the world that I am on a mission to create a company that allows its employees to reach and maintain the self-actualization stage. And watching it take place a little bit inside the company, you know, so like, to give you an example, to jump in and give employees raises immediately bumps them up in the hierarchy of needs, because it's an immediate injection of funds into their world. And if they had basic struggles with, let's say, paying rent, or, you know, wondering where their gas money was coming from, or the heat bill, or whatever it is, you know, it injects money into their life. Now, when you create a plan for your employees to get to the next phase, they start to get motivated to do more and to exceed their current position, because they're now living a higher level of the hierarchy of needs, right? So now their behavior is driven by a different set of motivators. I hope that wasn't too heady for you, but yeah, the hierarchy of needs as it relates to employees is huge. And I don't like, you know, as you know, we've just hired on a new individual, and, you know, one of the first meetings that I had with the individual was finding out what their goals were. What are your personal goals? What are your family goals? What are your career goals? and then like actually mapping them out and working with them on hitting those goals inside of the company so that they can advance in the hierarchy of needs, so that they can live a higher level of life. And when your employees are living a higher level of life, they're surely going to make, themselves more money and the company more money. So with that being said, stay tuned for episode 113, in which I discuss the hierarchy of needs for the entrepreneur, for probably you listening to this, in the what I refer to as the hierarchy roller coaster. But until then, purpose chasers, remember, more revenue, less hustle. That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit scaletosaleconsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.